All right, Brian, in part 3 of today's show here on the Irish Breakdown podcast, brought to you by FanDuel, we're going to be talking the keys to victory for Notre Dame's defense. Now, this is a side of the ball that everybody's been talking about, rightfully so, and there's things that they're going to have to do in this matchup to help Notre Dame's offense out and to walk away roughly Saturday around 3:30, 4 p.m. with a victory. Gosh, I hope actually not 4 p.m. our time, but hopefully they do the things that they need to come away with a victory. And when we start diving into keys to victory, Brian, where we start out, it kind of goes back to the team keys to victory, about being a more physical team and being the aggressor. This defense has to be aggressive with everything they do this weekend.
Yeah, it's got to. I mean, it has to be the foundation of what you're doing in this game, and it's similar to last week where we had the whole change everything is key number one. I'm not going to go into a rant like I did last week, but you just can't keep doing what you're doing, but just make this little adjustment, make that little adjustment. That's not going to do it. It has to be, hey, what we did isn't working, so we got to do something different. That's flat out what it has to be. Has to be that. And if it's not that, then this team is going to struggle to stop it, to stop Arkansas. So they're going to have to do better. So it come out, be aggressive, be downhill. I mean, even something as simple as like their downhill run game. It's not super complicated, ISOs, wraps, counters, things like that. They'll run a toss. But if your linebackers are going to be sitting there waiting on those guys to get to them, they're going to get run over. And not because they're not good players, but it's just sheer physics. These are 230, 240-pound backs. Your quarterback is tall and skinny, but what's he listed at? He's listed like 220-something, isn't he, Trev? I think on their roster.
Taylon Green?
Yeah. What's he listed
at? He's 235.
Okay, yeah, there you go. He's really skinny, but he's got some weight to him. And so you're going to have to be prepared to handle that. And their offensive line's big and physical. If you're asking Donovan Heinisch to just kind of take hits, and if you're asking Jason Onye to just take hits, they're going to get driven off the ball. And that's not on them. That's on you as a coaching staff. Let them attack. Be the more physical team, but be the faster team. Be the more aggressive team. Take the fight to Arkansas. If you do that, then it gets down to who's more disciplined and who's got the better athletes. And the answer to that question needs to be Notre Dame. I know the answer to the second one's Notre Dame. Who has the better athletes? That's Notre Dame. But if you don't play discipline, if you don't play fast, if you don't play aggressive, then here's the thing. When I'm fast, but I don't run, you're going to be faster than me. That's not rocket science. If I'm being asked to go 3/4 speed and reading and reacting while you're going full speed, and I'm a 4.5 and you're a 4.7, you're going to be faster than me. So if you allow me to play downhill, to be fast, up front, at the linebacker level, at corner, and at safety, then now we can use our speed. And so far this season, Notre Dame hasn't been able to use its athleticism on defense. That's the biggest frustration I have. There's a list of 20 of them. But at the very top, you're not using your athletes. Use your athletes this week. Be aggressive. Because, hey, your whole read, react, don't get hands-on, don't play fast, don't do all that stuff. You've tried that, and your defense is a hot mess. Now it's time to say, okay, let's pin our ears back and let these kids go play ball. Because they've looked pretty good when I've asked them to do that this week. And it's up to Marcus Freeman to go and say, hey, listen, it's up to you to go make it happen, right? Let these kids go play ball. Be aggressive, attack. And we're going to see if they do that or not. Or are they just so dead set on, no, we decided to make this change, even though we've been great at this and we've recruited to this, we've decided we're going to make this change. So we're just going to tweak a couple things to get better at it, and then we're going to keep doing it. I don't know the answer to that question, and I wish I did. And I wish I was more confident that we were going to get the right answer, but I'm not. But if you don't do number one, you won't do the next three or the next four. That's just a fact.
Agreed. This defense has to play fast, physical, violent, fly downhill to the football, and for the love of all things that are holy, if somebody does something good in this game, please celebrate it. I've watched him back-to-back weeks, Drake Bowen light somebody up. And then after the play's over, he's the only one celebrating. I watched Jalen Stroman do it on the first drive against Purdue. He gets up and everybody's like, all right, let's go get.
Well, it's because they're
Go
all
back,
looking at the
get lined
sideline.
up.
What's the play
Yeah.
now? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Let them freaking have some fun playing football.
That's what I'm saying. I want to. That is something that I really, really want to see. Just 11 guys flying around, 11 hats of the football, play fast, play violent, play downhill. That all falls under being aggressive. But look, in order for the other 4 keys to happen, you do have to be aggressive. But the second key that we're going to talk about for this defense is you have to be able to control the middle, slow down the run game, and keep Taylor Green in the pocket. Because Bryan, at the end of the day, Taylor Green's a dangerous football player, man. He's had over 360 total yards of offense in every game this season, including, I believe he had 420 something against Ole Miss and over 370 against Memphis. He's a dangerous football player. Notre Dame is going to have to do a good job of controlling the middle to make sure that they walk away with a win.
This is a game where controlling the middle has to include multiple things. It can't just be lining up your D tackles and saying, hey, hold up against Carmona and the other interior guys. That's part of it. You also have to be careful that it's not just, okay, well, they're bigger and stronger than we are, so we're going to twist and stun our way to success. That's not really it either. And ties into, like you said, Trev, the be aggressive thing. Be willing to crash your linebackers downhill like last year. Occupy gaps aggressively and physically. And it's not about two-gapping and then letting your right linebackers read and react. That's not going to work this game. This has to be about our linebackers are taking the fight to them. It really ties into number one. And what it does first and foremost, if you can control the middle of the line of scrimmage with both levels of your first and second level of your defense, that slows down their run game. Part of what has made this such a dangerous football team, Trevor, is Arkansas is very balanced. And you look at their success so far this season, offensively, they're throwing for over 300 yards a game. They're at 324, but they're also rushing for 227.8 yards per game as well. And what they have not done is had like that one game that just padded the stats. Like the Arkansas State game, they went for 321, but they went for 194 against Alabama A&M. They went for 221 against Ole Miss. They went for 175 against Memphis at 5.5 yards per carry. They're a very balanced rushing team also. Taylor Green's got 360 yards rushing, some on scrambles, some on design runs. Mike Washington already has 330 yards rushing at 7.2 per carry. Taylor Green's at 8.2 per carry. And then Braylon Russell, their 240-pound beast running back, who last year was over 5 yards a carry last season. This year he's over 5 yards a carry, 5.2. He was at 5.3. Hold on a second, let me go look. Yeah, he was 5.3 last year. He's at 150 yards and 5.2 yards per carry. So they're going to keep throwing these big boys at you, thinking you're going to have to commit resources to the box, and then that's when they, do their stuff outside. They get the quarterback outside the box. You've got to have to have a way to attack that and get after that, and you got to slow down that run game, because if they become one dimensional as a throwing team, they're going to make some plays, but you're also going to make some plays defensively if you are coached even remotely halfly okay. So that's number one. And then number two, part of controlling the middle of the line of scrimmage is you keep Taylor Green in the pocket or outside of it. And what I mean by that is what you don't want to let Taylor Green do is get running vertically. If he starts getting running downhill, either on designed runs or on scrambles where you over pursue or you lose your containment inside, and he sees those big running lanes and he gets vertical. I mean, he takes 3 steps and he's at 10 yards. And I'm not even joking about that. Once he gets running, he's such a long strider. He can cover 10 yards in 3-4 steps. I mean, when he's really sprinting. And you've got to make sure that when he's running backwards or left and right. That's going to be the key, because he'll get his yards. I mean, that's fine. I don't mind that. He's going to get some yards in this game. But if you get him in the pocket, he'll make some mistakes as a thrower. And then he's not a super accurate passer. So unless you're just turning guys wide open, which is possible, in this game, you're going to force him into some mistakes. And that's what Notre Dame's going to have to do in this game, is they're going to have to be able to keep him in the pocket and not let him get going vertically. And if they can do that, I think this team will have success forcing him into mistakes. Look, when you play good teams and you play offenses that have the weapons Arkansas has, you can live with a couple big plays. we mentioned Georgia hit 3 big plays against them last year. You know, you live with that. You know, you've seen Georgia Tech hit a big play down the middle of the field, 60-something yard gain. Just didn't let it score. I mean, we've seen teams hit big plays on Notre Dame, but that's going to happen. It's all the other plays where you're -2, +2 that need incomplete pass that is where you're going to shine that this team has lost its way on. So if you can make them one-dimensional by controlling the line, especially the inside, because if you get those 240-pound backs running left and right the whole game, that kind of plays into your hands. They want to run at you, you know, off tackle or downhill. And same thing with Taylor Green. When you do that, then you limit the run game and you keep him in the pocket also and not let him get vertical. Their offense becomes way less effective. Way less effective. And I can live with a shot here, a shot there, because this game plan, if you're aggressive, control the middle, what you're going to do is you're now going to make this game about his decision-making. And yes, he'll hit a couple big plays, but he's going to have a lot more incompletes, maybe some turnovers mixed in there as well. And that leads to number 3, Trev, is on top of this is you've got to do some things to get in his head with your alignments, with your pressures, by getting in his face, not letting him get going. He'll get real frustrated and real impatient, and that's how you get into his head, which is key number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have to find a way to throw him off of his game and get him out of a rhythm. Because like I said, in every game this season, he's had over 360 total yards of offense to himself, because defenses have struggled at times to get inside of his head. And that's everything from switching up your pressures, switching up your alignments, disguising different coverages, doing things post-snap to make him think he's seeing one thing, and then the coverage is actually another. But look, man, at the end of the day, right now, FanDuel's pretty high on what Taylor Green is going to be able to do in this game. His over-under for passing yards right now is set at 268.5, which, unfortunately, for Notre Dame, I'd be lying if I said, well, that's a crazy number, considering Ryan Brown didn't even play the whole game and threw for 250 yards. So this is one where the Notre Dame secondary, Notre Dame coaching staff is going to have to do a good job of throwing him off of his rhythm so he doesn't start throwing for 270, 280, 290. It's going to have to happen.
He's at 322 against Alabama A&M, 305 against Ole Miss, 325 against Memphis. The only game he did not throw for that number, Trev, was the Arkansas State game, where he passed for 239 yards, but only threw 26 passes in that game. And the reason that he didn't throw for more is because he basically only played 2.5 quarters. I mean, he didn't play a lot of that game. Their backup quarterback came in that game, went 3 for 3 for 70 yards. So so he hasn't actually been stopped in those situations. He just got stopped by his own coaches who pulled him out of a blowout win and got him on the sideline. So in the way that Notre Dame has played so far, I get why the number from FanDuel is set at 260 in this game. I get it. If he's under that, I feel good about it. Obviously, there's the chance that means Arkansas is running all over Notre Dame, but I think there's a better chance that if he's under 260, that Notre Dame's forced him into some incompletions in this game. Hopefully that's the case. Or turnovers.
I'm hoping so, man. I'm hoping so. The next key to victory here, Bryan, is Notre Dame is going to have to do a good job of playing great situational football. Situational football, talking third downs, red zones, sudden changes. For sudden changes, are you talking like if the offense does happen to turn the ball over, they got to go back out onto the field? And yeah, I mean, Notre Dame's defense is going to have to do a really, really good job of winning on those situational football downs. Because again, on the road, if Arkansas is able to stack third down conversions, if you're not getting them to third down, all those issues will start to stack up.
Yeah, situational football, I mean, Arkansas is a team that so far this season has been great in situational football through 4 games. Now, they've played better defenses than the way Notre Dame's defense has played. I don't believe that they've played better defenses in regards to how to where Notre Dame is talent-wise. But can Notre Dame play to that way? Can they play that way? Can they be great on first down, which then leads to third and medium and third and longs? And then in those situations, can you do what you haven't done all year, which is actually get teams off the field on third and long? You know, that's going to obviously be a big key. If you get them to a lot of third downs, then you're going to have a better shot of having success. I mean, And the longer third downs you can get them in, the better. I mean, Arkansas comes into this game, I think they are sixth. What did we have them? Yes, sixth in the country in third down offense, Trev. They're at 61.9% in third down offense, which is a very impressive number. But if you look at it also, Trev, they rank 102nd in college football right now in third down opportunities. That means they're not getting to third down very often. And now when they are, they're very good at it, and props to them for doing that. But the point is, they're such a big play team, and they're so good on first down and first and second down that teams aren't getting them into a lot of third downs so far this season. They went, if you look at their offense, they went 9 of 14 in the opener, 5 of 6 against Arkansas State, 9 of 12 against Ole Miss. But they went 3 of 10 against Memphis on third down. And guess what? They had their lowest scoring output of the season. They had their worst second half of the season by far. And they scored 3 points in the second half. And then, your offense, you're not able to get it done at the end of the game. So get them in more third mediums, third and longs, and then be good in those situations is going to be huge for Notre Dame. Arkansas also has one of the best red zone defenses in offense in college football. They rank second in college football in red zone offense. They've gotten into the red zone 17 times this year. And in those 17 opportunities, Trev, they have scored touchdowns 16 times. And that's pretty good. They rank 34th in the country in red zone opportunities, which means they have been a big play team. But that's still a lot of red zone trips. I mean, it's still a decent amount of red zone trips, and they're scoring touchdowns when they get in there. Look, they're going to get into the red zone in this game. Hold them to field goals on some of those times. I mean, that's. I mean, it's not that complicated. They literally they're 2 of 4 this year on field goal attempts. That's it, 2 of 4. They went 17 of 24 last year, which is okay, but not great. So far, they haven't been necessarily a great field goal team. They went 0 for 2 against Ole Miss. It's pretty big. In a game you lost by 7 points, that's pretty big. So force them, hold them to field goals. But if their drives end with 3 points instead of 7 points, that's a win for the defense. That's a big win for the defense. That's part of situational football. And as you mentioned, Trev, sudden change is huge. If your offense turns the ball over, you got to be good about not giving up touchdowns. It's a very big, very, very big key in this game. Situational football is going to be very important.
Last key, Bryan, and I have such a love-hate relationship with seeing this on an outline for keys to victory. But the last key to victory is Notre Dame has to tackle well. In their first 2 games, they missed 21 tackles between Miami and Texas A&M. They only missed 2 tackles against Purdue. And it wasn't just because it was Purdue. I want to make that clear. When you go back and run through and look at the film, they were tackling with better fundamentals. They were a little bit more aggressive, attacking ball carriers when they were facing Purdue. So, yes, on one hand, is it a little different tackling Devin Mockabee and Michael Jackson III than it is tackling Le'Veon Moss or Casey Concepcion or Mario Craver? Sure, to varying degrees, but Notre Dame tackled with better fundamentals against Purdue. But it begs the question, what's the real Notre Dame defense? Is it the one in terms of tackling? Is it the defense that we saw against Miami and Texas A&M, or is it the one that we saw against Purdue? Like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with this being on the keys to victory, but regardless, you're going up against some players who have a lot of talent. I think I remember looking this up. I think out of Omega Blake's 300-some-odd receiving yards this year, over 140 of them have been yards after the catch. So he's elusive in the open field. Taylon Green at 6'6", 235 is hard to bring down. And like we've talked about, they have 2 really big running backs. I mean, Mike Washington at what is he? 6'1", 228 pounds is their smaller running back. Because they have Braylon Russell coming off the bench who's 240. So tackling is going to be huge in this game.
Yep. It's not just tackling in the standpoint of also, Trevor, it's not just about, getting juked and giving up big plays like A&M. It's also about when you hit their running backs, don't let them drag you for 3-4 more yards.
Yep.
It's 2nd and 8. You hit them 2 yards down the field, and instead of it being 3rd and 6, they drag you for 4 yards and it's 3rd and 2. Those are big yards in a game like this. 3rd and 2 is going to be a lot easier for them to convert than 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. That's what tackling is too. It's not just about, okay, don't give up 50-yard gains because you got juked in space. That's important. That's what a lot of the focus is on. But my focus is first and foremost on those hidden yards. Those kind of yards after contact where you hit the running back the line of scrimmage and, he kind of drags you until somebody else comes along. And instead of it being 2nd and 10 because you had that great initial read, it's now 2nd and 5 because he dragged you for 5 yards. Those are going to be parts of it as well. And that just goes back to being a sound fundamental football team. And if you can be a sound fundamental football team, then guess what? You're going to have a chance to beat Arkansas because they're not a really sound fundamental football team. But I would also argue, Trevor, that if you're also not a team that is willing to, how do I say this? If you're not willing to be aggressive and play real big boy football, defense, I should say, then you're not going to force them to make mistakes. Part of defense, a team that's prone to mistakes, you have to force them into them. And if you just sit back and play the way you've played the first 3 games, they won't make as many mistakes. They won't. So Ryan Brown threw a pick in the game, right? Did he throw a pick in the game?
Mm-hmm.
When was it?
It was when Madden Framo rode out the running back, tipped it up in the air. Christian Gray picked it off.
So you were aggressive, right? He's been a guy that's been prone to interceptions. He threw, 3 against USC? Because they went after him. It turned it up on him. You turned him into 1 on one of the limited times where you didn't even allow. Just Madden Framo kind of played that way. It was more about Madden Framo than it was a better play call. I was just a Madden Framo been out there like, I'm freaking hungry. I want to go make a play. Just awesome. So you got to force them into mistakes, Trev.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be a big part of this game. We've talked about this. Carson Beck he'll throw turnovers if you put him in those situations. You just sat back and just let him get comfortable in the pocket and didn't put him in those situations. You've got to dictate success in this game. And tackling is a very similar thing. If you're just going to sit back and just ask your guys to wait and read and react and not play downhill, then these running backs are going to get ahead of steam and they're going to run you over, and 2-yard gain turns into a 6-yard gain or an 8-yard gain. A potential quarterback sack is going to turn into a scramble for 15. Like it all starts back at the very top. I think because also if you're aggressive, Drake hits that linebacker, running back stands him up, and he's about to maybe try and push forward on Drake, and next thing you know, Jaden or Osbury or Kingston drills him, and then Onye comes over and drills him, and it's bam, 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 right back after another. That guy has no momentum going. He's going down. That's what was so good about last year's defense. It's like one guy would hit him, and then before he could get to his second step of momentum, the next 2-3 guys come in and hit him. They swarmed to the football. This team does not do that, which makes them more prone to you stand a guy up in the hole, and he's got the momentum on you, and he's going to drag you. It all leads back to the top. But those hidden yards, I'm very curious to see how Notre Dame is able to limit those type of opportunities for Arkansas in this game.
Couldn't agree more. And it all goes back to the first point that you and I talked about, Brian. This defense has to stay aggressive. And if they do that, they're going to put themselves in a good position to win on Saturday afternoon. I couldn't agree more. Well, listen, folks, that's going to do it for part 3 of today's show. Don't go anywhere. We're getting ready for the fun part. We're talking predictions. We're talking game wreckers. Then we're going to get into some more content as this show goes on. But before we get there, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know whenever we go live. But as always, the best way to support what we do here is subscribe to the premium message boards at boards.irishbreakdown.com.